Autobots, if we stand united, we can defeat Megatron's evil plot. Yes, this here is the Autobots Stand United 5-pack. I know it's been out for a little while, and there's probably been other reviews. I don't care. I'm going to go through it my way. We're going to go through each of these figures. We've got Jazz, we've got Sunstreaker, we've got Trailbreaker, we've got Wheeljack, and we've got Hound. And I'm going to take a look at them all, compare them to some previous releases, and maybe this is something you're looking forward to get in your collection, and this might help you decide. Be right back. All right, so let's open this up. I've cut the tape already, but if we open it up, we see in the package, we have all 5 of our wonderful Autobots. Now, yes, these are all repaints, but we're going to talk about them and compare them to the previous releases. We've got the Studio Series Jazz. We've got the Kingdom and or Earthrise versions of Sunstreaker and Trailbreaker and Wheeljack. And then we've got a version of Hound that was actually supposed to be released at Target as part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee saga. But Target decided they didn't want it, which, while I remove their plastic restraints, there are some reasons for buying Transformers, because if you're like, I'm not buying any of these new damn Transformers, then a store like Target says, well, no one's buying these damn Transformers. I'm not saying you should buy what you don't want, but if you're like, this is good, but not quite up to snuff, maybe buy it anyway, and you could do a little customizing to make it up to snuff. But all right, we've gotten Jazz out with some wiggling with his gun. We've got Sunstreaker with Elita 1's gun. Yes, he gets an extra accessory. We've got Trailbreaker, Wheeljack, who also comes with a copy of Elita 1's gun. Did they just make a whole bunch of extra ones for Elita? Were they thinking she's probably gonna lose these, so we should have extras made up? That's kind of sexist, Hasbro. And we've got Hound, fully armed. Now, inside the package, gold! No, there's a shitty piece of paper. And a huge instruction book that gives instructions for everybody. Which means, unless you make photocopies or something, or scan them in, if you want to sell these with their instructions, you gotta sell them all together. All right, so there they are in all their weaponed glory. And I'm going to go through them one by one. Now, a lot of these have already been reviewed, so I'm going to go quickly through the posability and such, mainly concentrating on the deco. And to help with that, we're going to bring out other molds. So we're going to start with Jazz, and I'm going to give it a nice spin so you can see him from all angles. But then I'm going to put the Studio Series next to him, and we'll also give it a spin. And you can see there are some differences. The deco on the front doesn't change that much, but the windows on the new one are painted solid blue. There's a little bit of a difference in the stripe in the back. It's thinner on the new one inside the blue, and it's also a little bit darker of a red. He also has on the back of his wheels, which I kind of prefer them moved forward like that, but you can see that he's got blue with red inside stripes around the rear wheels, and so there may be some other changes, but otherwise they're very similar. I mean, the solid windows, solid colored windows make it a little more animation accurate. But let's quickly take a look now. I haven't messed around with this guy for a little while, but he definitely has ankle swivels. He can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now he bends at the knee, but this lower leg can kind of like come away. So you kind of gotta be a little careful in bending him at the knee, but it goes out a full, about a 90-degree angle. But that's part of the transformation. You don't want to do that to his leg. He looks like he's in pain. The legs swivel somewhat, at least out to the side, but not all the way around. Obviously, he can do a side kick and a much higher side kick if you use both legs. He can twist at the waist, arms go all the way around, and you can knock his gun out. Bends at the elbow, swivels, can kind of go out to the sides, head turns all the way around. No real ab crunch or anything like that, but a solid figure. And so we're mainly talking about differences in deco. So we've seen there are a few differences. For example, the Studio Series one, the Autobot symbol is outlined in white and it has white eyes, whereas it's just plain red with no outline on the new one. Let's put him into his vehicle mode and do a little comparison there. So there's the new Jazz in his vehicle mode with his quite obvious gun on top. That does not make it a robot in disguise. Fine looking vehicle, roll test, very nice. However, we want to put it next to the original Studio Series, which is also a fine looking vehicle, albeit clear windows, and they roll about the same, which is not a big surprise. They're the same mold. However, changes to the deco. So the Autobot symbol on the new one is actually a little bit bigger, as well as not having the white outline. Just kind of notice it now that they're side by side. The stripe going down the middle. The blue is slightly darker. It's hard to tell on the camera, but it's slightly darker with the new one, and the red stripe and the red Autobot symbol are a darker shade of red. That's a little easier to tell. And the stripe is thinner. Same thing on the roof. And again, you can see that you have some additional detailing around the wheels. This is the original, this is the new one. And I do think that blocking out the windows, making them light blue, definitely gives it more of an animation feel. But otherwise, they're very similar. If you were just getting this set for Jazz, you might not need to, but it is an interesting change in deco. All right, 1 down, 4 to go. Let's move on to Sunstreaker. So Sunstreaker here benefits from the additional weapon, because this thing here doesn't really look like a weapon, looks kind of like a blow dryer or something. I mean, I thought you could turn it around and stuff, but yeah, it's just kind of flat in there. So of course, the original Kingdom version, probably a little jealous. There you can see them side by side. Now the yellow on the new one is a darker shade of yellow, and this here is clear plastic over some kind of pattern, but it's tinted blue, whereas this is just painted blue. So again, this adds more to the anime feel. And you can see the windows on the back on the Kingdom one are black as compared to the blue. Well, actually they're not black. They are, again, that transparent blue, but it almost looks black at some angles. It does give it a nice shiny effect. I don't know which I would consider better, the painted or the translucent. This has a little bit more of a realistic feel than this one. And you can see the panel on the back of the new one is black, whereas it's just yellow for the original. Tires look about the same. Now, I don't remember if I ever did a Sunstreaker Kingdom review, so just very quickly, obviously he's got ankle swivels here that go way beyond what is necessary. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, his leg's a little stiff, but he can go forward. I mean, come on, he originated in '84, so he's got some years on him. 40 years old, man. Leg's gonna be a little stiff. But it goes forward and back, goes to the side, bends at the knee, and get it up there. There are swivels on each leg. There's also twisting around at the waist. Arm can go around all the way, though you do have to worry about catching it on these little pieces of, I don't know, design element kibble. I don't even know. Bends at the elbow, swivels around, can go off to the side. Good, and he can kind of shrug, or he can be dejected. And he's got holes here in his shoulders. There's no missiles or something. Maybe really neat if they did another one of those packs with a whole bunch of additional accessories for guys, and then we could add some shoulder missiles. Head turns all the way around, no ab crunch, but very posable. And again, the deco, darker. There's silver on the forearms that is not present on the original Kingdom, but overall, cool. In fact, I think the head itself is a little more of a dark gray on the back, maybe all over, than the Kingdom one, which is black. So you got all that going on. All right, time for the vehicle mode. So there they are in their vehicle modes. I have to say that the Autobot symbol on the hood in the front here on the new one definitely adds to it. And they both have Autobot symbols, which look pretty much identical on the roof. Now, interestingly, I mean, I do like the blue windows. The little itty bitty area back here is not painted, whereas here it's got the, it's either painted or it's definitely clear plastic over there. So slightly different deco. Black stripes that go to the back, which are missing on the Kingdom one. And I do kind of like the silver in the back here. Makes it look a little bit more racy. Now, looking at the spoiler guns, maybe a tinge darker on the new one. Kind of hard to tell, but that's what it looks like. Now, we have the extra gun, but no real place to put it, unless I have these things on the wrong way all the time. Yeah, I'm not a car guy, so there we go. That looks a little better, but now that even more enhances those stripes going into the back there. And, whoa, don't Thelma and Louise me, buddy. For weapon storage, I'm guessing you can plug it in there. Not very effective, can't really face it forward, but can shoot the guy next to him. Or I want to get in the left lane. Bam! Gotta help you recover from your fall so we can do the roll tests. But overall, I mean, a little bit different of a shade of yellow, but still both cool versions of Sunstreaker. I mean, if they hadn't put this out, would I have complained about this one? No. but let's see if it can roll. That does roll pretty well, though he has a tendency to want to skid out and do fancy stuff because he's Sunstreaker. Whereas this one seems to want to just go much more forward. So maybe the slightly wilder paint job and the additional gun affected the attitude of this one. But all right, Sunstreaker down. And now we've got the new Trailbreaker. Hey there, I'm gonna put up my force field. Where's Bumblebee, my little buddy? So there he is. Let's get a look at him. Now, the original one was black. This is more of a charcoal gray, so definitely a change in color. Definitely a change in color on the weapons going over his shoulders, especially a little gun slash missile slash whatever that is. And a little bit of looseness. See if I can get him popped into place here. Seems a little better, but if we do the wiggle test, this one wiggles a lot more. I'm not talking like the Wiggles Bruticus version. I'm gonna remove his backpack because I attached that on. See if that makes a difference. Doesn't really. Let's see how this guy's standing so well in comparison. I'm not sure why this one likes to stay in place better, but it does. So, but then again, have to adjust it a little bit. I do have to say, Trailbreaker's transformation design, I've seen better. I think it's because they are so concerned about getting these guns in place, which is much appreciated, that the back connections are just not as good as they could be. But you can definitely see some differences in the deco. For example, the stripes on the sides of the truck apparently are not on the new one. He does have the blue windshield as opposed to the clear, and you can even see on the top of his shoulder some blue is showing through there for the side windows, whereas this is all black. This is a silver weapon, this is black. Definitely you can see more grayness on the lower body and around the weapon, which is totally black here. The weapons themselves, this one is gray, this one is a little more silver painted, so that's a nice touch. Yeah, so some changes to the deco, some changes to the coloration. Let's go through his posability real quick. Hope I'm not gonna regret this with the issues clipping him into place. All right, first of all, ankle swivels, does he have them? He does, far more than needs to happen. He can kick forward, back, side, and do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme on wheels so he can roll back and forth. Bends oddly at the knee here and at the knee here. This is the one that's supposed to bend. That's part of his transformation. But he's got like two knees. Can swivel all the way around. Can also twist at the waist. Arms can go all the way around. Bends at the elbow, does swivel, but then runs into his plates. So he can only swivel out so far to the side, and head turns all the way around. There's kind of some weird things you can do to the abs, but I don't think you're supposed to. Now I do want to point out on the top, he does have some stripes here, kind of similar to the stripes on, though in an opposite direction, the ones for the Kingdom version of Trailbreaker. All right, let's see if we can get him into his vehicle mode. All right, there's a new one in its vehicle mode, and definitely very gray. You know, again, more animation accurate. The windows got the little stripes on the side, little red tail lights, brake lights. Now the Autobot symbol here is just red plain, whereas the Kingdom one has the white outline, so you can definitely see some differences there. Difference in the stripes only present on kind of the top instead of the bottom of the little cab cover thing, and none along the sides. And you can see it's just plain gray here, whereas this has some silver accents. They both have pluses and minuses, but they're both pretty cool. And rolls pretty well, both of them. So again, not surprising, same mold, but definitely some differences in the deco. All right, the new Wheeljack. He is very white, very clean. He's got the new gun. He almost looks like an angel. Okay, well, maybe that's a bit much. But you can see he's got the classic chest cover. He's got the Autobot symbol there. He's got blue for his windows like the others. And again, he's got that extra gun. And of course, the number 638. Now this one is one of the Wheeljacks of the same thing. He looks a little grimier, a little dirtier. The white is a little off-white. Could be by design. I don't think it's sun damage because he's in a room with no sunlight. Just looks a little more off-white. His shoulder cannon, definitely a darker gray. The white post on the side. You can see with his wheels on the back of his arms, there's red here as opposed to just silver. And even this head is much closer to actual black. Could be dark gray, but it's very black looking. Whereas this is gray. Definitely a lot of changes, and a lot of the racing stripes have been removed from this one. He's still got the number on the side in much smaller numbers, but yeah, it's definitely it's a Wheeljack. But yeah, very white and clean, like he's right off the production line. And even their chest deco is a little bit different. This might be, I'd have to look at pictures. I don't feel like doing that right now. This might be closer to the animated, whereas this just looks grindy. Now, I'm pretty sure I did all this, especially since I did like an entire evolution of Wheeljack, but he's got the ankle rockers. He's got the full Jean-Claude Van Damme, forward kick, back kick, side kick, bend at the knees, swivel around. Arms can, if you curve them out, kind of go all the way around. Not too easily. A lot of square stuff in here. He's got the wings with silver on them, bend at the elbow. He can swivel out to about there. Further than that is not possible without potentially breaking the toy. His head, of course, can turn all the way around, and he can twist all the way around. You thought I was going to forget the twisting. Yeah, definitely more like it was in a cartoon type version of Wheeljack. Well, let's get him into his car mode so we can do a little comparison there. All right, there's a new Wheeljack in his race car mode. Again, lacking a lot of the racing stripes and decals and all that stuff. Just has the number, looks very pure white. Does have a larger Autobot symbol that ends up on his chest plate than the original. This one has a lot more racing stripes, some decals, extra Autobot symbols. This definitely looks like a working race car. This looks like something on the showroom floor. And you do have the extra weapon. The only place I can see to store it is here, which kind of looks doofy. But I actually prefer the older Wheeljack to this newer one. He is way too white and clean. He does not look like he accidentally invented really big creatures called Dinobots that would trash Teletran 1 at a critical moment. You know, stuff like that. He just looks way too pristine. Still glad I have him because I'm a bit of a completist, trying to rebuild my collection after the Great Purge. So if you don't have a Wheeljack, it's a nice one to get. And again, it's kind of a very clean version of him. Maybe you can customize him. And at long last, we have Hound. So there's Hound. Now, you can't really compare me. It's kind of a bit of a retool to the Siege Hound. Whoa! And there are similar elements, but there's definitely a lot different about this. So much so that it's probably better to put him next to Detritus, who is basically the exact same mold. So as I kind of mentioned before, stay Detritus, this was, from what I've read, supposed to be a Target Buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive. And they decided they didn't want to carry him. And so Hasbro instead changed the deco a little bit and put him in this 5-pack. So we would have had him singly, but obviously there's a bit of a thing when one of your major retailers says, nah, we're good, we're good. I mean, I do like the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line, a lot of them, particularly like the Origin stuff, but there needs to be more excitement about Transformers toys. I mean, us diehard fans, we're very excited, though we badmouth these things quite a bit. We need to spread the word, spread the gospel of Primus far and wide. Just get more people buying Transformers, because we don't want people to stop buying Transformers, except for us, because Hasbro will say, yeah, there's not enough, and stop making them, and I don't want that to happen. All right, so all that from Hound. Let's take a look at him. I did this with the Detritus one, so he's got ankle swivels, he can do Jean-Claude Van Damme, and actually stay up on his wheels and roll back and forth, which is really cool. Kicks forward, back, to the side, and has a little bit of an outward swivel. Doesn't swivel all the way. Arms go all the way around. He can twist at the waist all the way around. Does he have a swivel? Yes, he does. It was just a little stiff. And his head, of course, can turn, though you do need to be careful because of the shape of his head. You don't want it to catch against the rest of the tank, or I'm sorry, the Jeep tank, and cause problems. So he does pose very well. I love the new hologram gun. Of course, it's just like the one that Detritus has, and the blue windows, which they were clear on Detritus. But I'm not going to really do a comparison between this one and Detritus because there is no equivalency, and it's different enough from the Siege. I'm just going to show you his vehicle mode, and we'll go from there. So there he is. He's Hound. He actually seems to have a little less deco than some of the others. He's got the Autobot symbol here, the star here, blue windshield, and you can see some seats. I don't know if Titan Masters will fit in there because it looks very uncomfortable for human butts. Ouch. I mean, totally different deco than Detritus, obviously, but a cool looking Jeep. I mean, not perfect. Definitely, you can tell it's been retooled from the Siege, and rolling does okay. I've seen better. But still, overall, it's a Hound. and it's a pretty good Hound. I have many Hounds, so it's very nice. Now, luckily, the deco is different enough I can tell the difference between these and my originals, but it's a pretty nice set. It went for like 100 and something. I don't know, considering these are all about 25 bucks a piece or so. I mean, not too bad of a deal. I don't remember exactly, but I'm gonna put links in the description if you guys want to try to hunt this set down. I don't know if it's still on Hasbro Pulse, but they're good versions of our G1 friends. The only one I'm really not happy with is Wheeljack. And don't get me wrong, I like Wheeljack. This just looks very plain. They could have done a little bit better on this one. But otherwise, I'm gonna have fun putting these on my shelf. I'm in the midst of a full collection reorganization because I know there have been requests to do a tour of the collection, and I'm rearranging things. I added a couple more bookcases, and I'm rearranging things in chronological order so we can go from G1 all the way to the latest stuff. Mostly, there's going to be some oddball places, but these will fit in quite nicely. And I had fun showing them to you. I hope you're having fun watching. And while you're debating about these guys, why don't you go ahead and take a look at this video over here, which is actually a comparison between Detritus and the original eHobby Detritus. And we will see you next time. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe, and most of all, have fun and good hunting.